I don't think that's
I
how
think I
society.
think let me say this, Vince. Right, Vince, what you said right now is very powerful. I don't know how many people are going to be able to digest it or already digested it or dissect it. But I got to say one thing. What you said is very powerful. But let me go a little bit into it. The thing becomes, how many years do you want to spend training training somebody that's supposed to have been trained? That's I'm still trying to go back to what I said earlier. Why would you want to spend your energy, time, and resource to deal with somebody you knew from day one that that is not what you want, but because of her beauty, you're willing to take her in?
That's not my approach. My
You see,
approach
no, no,
is
no,
that,
no, no, no. I'm not talking about you. I'm adding to what you said.
well,
So,
I'm saying
so
to that anybody's, and if that's the message that you're getting from what I'm saying, that's not what I'm saying at all. My message is simply, and I always use the story of Jesus. Jesus couldn't save everybody. He tried to, but he couldn't. And even though he did essentially pay the ultimate price, I'm not saying that I'm willing to pay that ultimate price, but I'm willing to invest
but
into
but
the people. All that I'm saying is be willing to invest into the people that are willing to listen to you.
So
And
I kind of
whoever,
made that. I
then
made that point, Viz. You
personality
probably
will
was talking about
go.
me.
I don't think
okay,
it's a
I
matter.
made
It's
the
it
not
might
a
point.
have
matter
been
of
it might
who.
have
So,
it might have
I'll
been
explain
Marcus. It might have been
while I
Marcus.
said that. Yeah, I made the point. I'll explain why I said that. Black Americans have a unique uh, history that's led to some issues within the family structure. And because of that, for us to stick together, we have to have a different solution than having somebody who's been culturally raised in an untampered culture and they have an expectation set plus a community that has a standard of shame based off that cultural standard. Because we have such a non-homogenous way of life, the solution to that would be to find somebody and work with them to create the perfect union between the two of you and what that looks like. And it could look like it's a lot of work, but it actually can turn out better because what you'll get is a tailor-made relationship as opposed to a pre-made fit that might not mesh with you well. But
Yeah.
we're in the only other solution would be to separate from each other, and I would never
Yeah,
advocate for
and
that.
also, Kenna, that has never been a thing in this country, by and large. Like yes, your parents taught you how to cooperate with one another, and because you learn relationship through your parents. So you see your parents, you see how they interact. 9 times out of 10, that's how you and your spouse. That's how you're gonna interact with your spouse, and y'all kind of feed off each other. Y'all create a somewhat altered version of who your parents were. But like, you know
No,
what I mean? That's
I disagree on that, Sweeney. You know why I disagree on that? I know I may have not been raised here, but I think African history is global. Is widely read. And
Oh,
I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. I will tell you why. Before the feminism got into the black community, both here in America and in Nigeria, right? We knew the family structure. We knew what the family structure was. Yes, I know that they came and destroyed it, but not everybody was destroyed. The reason why more people became destroyed as the process went on is because we as men began to lower our guards. We began to accept attitude, characters. We began to accept. But if you
no, we
draw
didn't.
the
I
line, if
disagree
the
with that.
men,
We was forced to lower our guards. This happened a long time ago. We
how
were beat
was how
and
was
hung into. It was no acceptance, bro. We were sold. but even then, like we had like Akena, you can't ignore the fact that we had 60, almost 70 years of black family that was able to cooperate with one another. You can't like, yes, slavery
yeah,
happened,
that's what I'm saying.
but
No,
like
no, I'm not
that,
talking. I'm talking about even between 65 to now. That's what I'm talking about.
but yeah,
Because
but that was
the guards began to lower down in the 70s, 80s. That's when people began to accept. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
began
but
to tolerate.
yeah.
that has nothing to do with having a connection with Africa, or anything like that. That was just like there's like the white
No,
family structure was always like there's always been an American family structure. That's what we in this country have always adhered to. That's what we know.
No, actually, let me say this to you, brother. The black family structure in this country had far more rate of marriage than white structure throughout history. They've always been together with each other throughout history. The white family has never been. In fact, let me say this, right? White people have not they have never really married each other, except the elites. The poor white folks never really married each other. They have always been gypsies. They move from one house to another. They usually fight wars. They go to wars. That is, in fact, let me put it this way: 40% of white population throughout history never married.
Man, who
Because
cares?
remember, they ship them out to wars.
Let's
They
focus.
destitute. They live on the street. That is why, if you look at throughout history, you see England, right? The street of London has always been the dirtiest street on earth. Rats and all those things until after, I would say, just a little bit after the Second World War. That was when London began to be cleaned up. Paris was like that.
But
We
that's
don't
not
we
what.
don't
But
care.
that's
We
but we're
don't care
talking
about
about.
white
So
people.
Yeah,
We,
but hold on, wait. But you're
No, he brought
comparing.
it up. He brought it up.
You're comparing. The American structure has always been a nuclear family. It was
so right,
built on that.
Jess, right after this exchange, we're gonna end up rapping.
Yeah, it was built on the nuclear family. Even white folks in the 1960s were married at a 60-some% clips. That wasn't just us. We were all getting married. Like it
yeah,
wasn't just
that
like
was the
that
American
was the standard
that was
in
the
America.
American
That
dream to
that's
have
what that's exactly what I said. I said that even the
all.
white structure in the US have always had a low marriage structure than the black family. Black family used to be married at 82%. The white was 64%. Black family was 82%. White was 64.
But
Pre
what is your point though?
1965.
What is
No,
the
my
point of
point
the
is
stat?
this is what I said. My point, even in Nigeria, the same thing is affecting Nigeria now. The marriage rate is coming down. It's coming down. The same thing that is happening in the US today. Even in Nigeria, I do tell guys, I say, because now we are accepting women as they come. Instead of us to enforce what we need. You the one doing her a favor. You the one that is supposed to set the rules and say, hey, I want a woman that is going to do this, a woman that is going to do that, a woman that is going to do the other one. You have to lay the rules. But when you start letting the rules fly, you start getting the rules loosening, we end up where we just ended. I'm glad that the marriage rate in America is turning around. There's a new study that came out and said that it's turning around. It's
Yeah,
not
but
it's not getting
you saying that we're relaxing our standards, and that's what's lowering the rates. It's not that. It's that we're just not getting married.
And even in the 1950s, black
And
people
getting
married at
married
a
for the wrong
64% rate.
reasons. People
Black
people
people, black people in
getting married
America.
for the wrong reason. That's why the
people,
divorce rate is
people are
happening.
getting married
People
for the
there is
wrong
no
reasons.
even the ones that are not getting married, they're scared to get married because to them, okay, like now, most 56% of black men are married, right? Why are they saying that? Because the women are not fit for them, right? But is it the woman's fault for not being fit for them? No, it's not the woman's fault totally.
What
That's why I
Oh
said that.
no,
where in this country is
I
64% of
would
black men married?
I'm gonna
No,
say this
54,
because I'm
54,
gonna
not
say this
64.
Even
because
54% of black men in this country ain't married.
That's what I said.
No, we're
wait.
only hovering. Black men in this country only hovering around 35, 36%.
But the problem is we came.
That are married.
It looked like we
Yeah,
crept up on
yeah.
solutions, and then we
Yeah,
kind of went back to
36% are married.
statistics again. So that's what I don't understand, and I'm glad Trev and Jr. came together to put this show together to actually pull out some of those solutions. But one thing I don't want to do is ignore the progression we made during the show to actually reaching a solution, just to revert back to a statistic
Yeah,
and
man.
having
No,
Like
to
no,
take this
no,
as a
no.
yeah,
statistic.
You
No,
guys are not understanding what I said. I
yeah.
just said right now that thank God the thing is reversing,
But no,
which means these shows are doing great job by reversing. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that the men should just accept
but
accept
nobody's
anything.
accepting
We still
anything.
have to
Though.
draw the
Who's
lines to
arguing
get so
that a
that the
man
marriage
should
can last longer.
But
Kenny,
nobody's
I'm
arguing.
talking about training and molding and all those things. Those are the lines. Those are the actual lines.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm agreeing
So
with
it's
you,
not
Marcus.
anything. It's hey,
we're not
this is
we're
what
not
I
no
expect,
I don't think
and this
nobody
how we
argued
do.
that we was accepting any bad behavior.
We was just
Oh,
communicating, having effective communication. Is not a matter of accepting a woman and
Yeah,
operating out of line. It was
And
just
and also everybody, well, at least a few of us mentioned the word malleable, and so a lot of women are not going to come completely ready for you, but as long as they're malleable, then we're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, let me say this real quick. So some years back when I was in a long-term relationship, and I'm gonna just be vulnerable in this moment. Some years back I was in a long-term relationship, and I was really battling with knowing, okay, now, and I was asking married men, when did you know, how did you know that you were ready to get married to this woman? When did you know, what clicked in you and was like, man, I'm ready to lock it down with this woman? And a lot of the men gave me reasons that made absolutely no sense to me. A lot of them said, "Oh, well, I ain't going nowhere, so fuck it, why not?" Or, "Oh man, we got 3, 4 kids together, so it's only right." Those, even though those may be um uh morally right, choices or whatever the case may be, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be more than that in order for you to say, all right, this is what I want to do and commit the rest of my life to. And the issue is that a lot of these men that I talk to, and it was literally from every age range, from men that were younger than me to men that were older than me, that gave these damn near the exact same reasoning. And it was like, bro, that does not make sense to me as to why I would want to marry and spend the rest of my life with this woman and commit these vows.
Are they still
So
married?
say it again.
Are a lot of them, most of them, still married?
No.
mm,
Oh shit.
So you know what I'm saying? It's really, and it's really, and even with me, because I film weddings now. So even with me going to film some of these weddings on their wedding day, and I see how they interact, and it's like, oh, this shit ain't gonna last long. You know what I'm saying? They're just getting married just because. And that's not the reason why you should be getting married. That's, you know what I'm saying? That tarnishes the
yeah.
whole name and brand and image of marriage.
I
So
can
I
give you
think
mine.
that on both sides, men and women have to get back to, again, being a role player, being a team player, and understanding why and how it is that they're coming back to be in this marriage, in which, again, I say that it is essentially, marriage is a business deal. So if you don't understand that before getting married, then
What
you have no reason to ask to getting married in the first
also those guys that that you mentioned, did they marriage dissolve because they wanted out, or did it dissolve because the women that they were with wanted out?
shit. It was both.
Both.
It was both. You know what I'm saying? Both. It was either they were both just to the point where, oh shit, well, we've been together for 8 years, fuck it, why not? Or the man fucked up. I know a couple guys that was cheating, full-blown cheating, and they put a ring on her finger to keep her, and just for them to break up, you know what I'm saying, a couple years
That's a
later.
pretty dumb reason to get married. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that doesn't make sense.
we see a lot
Acting
of
out of
that in
impulse.
our community, and I'm pretty sure in other communities as well. But we
But
see a lot of
Spence,
that.
are you surprised? Are you surprised that you would see men, doing so many different things and getting married in a foolish way? Are you surprised that they're doing it, given the fact that we are divided on principle and standards as a black people in America? I would argue that I would say I'm not surprised. Every black man I meet, I'm always curious of, okay, what do you think about relationships? I believe it used to be a point in time where in America where you could
go to a group of brothers and they would all have the same principle and standards as far as when it comes to relationship.
I think it's damn near the same today.
Nah, man.
Well, if you honestly go out there and ask, most
We
of them
just
got
had
the
a
same answer.
conversation.
All of us pretty much had the same
You were able
answer.
to see so many different things that we were divided on now. Every
No, we
time we
weren't.
come in here every Tuesday, we
No,
are
we
able to see so
weren't.
many.
No, we weren't. I think we was pretty spot on as far as
The
us
only
having.
thing the only thing I can say we arguably that we kind of agreed on was when somebody brought up communication, effective communication.
You disagree with a lot of
That was the
stuff
most
said.
important part.
Pretty much everybody else was like, yeah.
No, me and Viz was on the same point as far as finances.
Yeah, but only you pretty much was like, I don't know. That don't make any like and nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying
No,
there's anything wrong.
the only thing that I was arguing against was what y'all chose to be a solution, and I think what was chosen was to just ignore women and just men walking away, MGTOW or some shit like that.
No, nobody said that.
I don't know.
Hey,
I thought I heard somebody ignore them and let them die off or some shit.
No, I was explaining a different argument that me and Viz had, but what I was explaining was that if you're noticing, men are ignoring the bad women out there, and they're sitting back and having to come to Jesus moment and trying to figure out why it's taking place. We weren't saying that the solution was to ignore all women and just go your own way.
They are going to the extreme of ignoring all women. That's the narrative that's being pushed for sure.